by Operation Deep Freeze on the evening of April 20, 1979 in New Richmond, Wisconsin. On April 21, 1979, President Carter and his family were executed. I know this sounds hard and unbelievable. They've all been replaced by clones. Jimmy Carter has had at least 18 clones since he was killed in 1979. The person we see, and the person who recently went to Korea in 1996, is not a real human being. He is what they call a synthetic. I am sure you're all asking, how could this be? There's no way I would have talked about this unless I could give you some, nuts and bolts. What is the difference between doubles and clones? A double is more or less a person acting like another person, who has been cosmetically changed to look like that person. A clone is a synthetic biological organism with a holographically imposed memory complex. In 1953, scientists named Watson and Crick discovered the double helix molecular structure of DNA. During the 25 years following that, many developments have come about, including test tube babies, artificial microbes, artificially produced clones and exact duplicates of various creatures. These duplicates are created in underground laboratories in Mount Hood, Oregon, Sandia Laboratories in New Mexico and at Fort Meade, Maryland, amongst other places, with the cooperation of regressive extraterrestrials. An organic clone can be created and can be programmed to do whatever desired. They are not human, but a kind of computerized animal that looks and acts like a human. Like any man-made thing, a copy is never perfect, and small discrepancies do exist. The first successful clone was put into action in June 1975. Okay. A biological computer modeled after the brain is what is grown inside clones. The Kaiser Aluminum and Chemical Corporation has been very instrumental in creating this technology. Computers exist today that can do virtually everything that you, as a human being, can do. Man-made biological computers even contain a plasma "-like material which circulates through a visceral-like envelope that allows them to be totally self-healing. In other words, they can to a great extent repair themselves. The key to simulating a human being, however, is the clone's ability to simulate their behavior, and this ability depends on the programming in the brain. This programming is done using three-dimensional holographs. This process was evidently discovered at Novosibirsk, a science city in Russia, where they discovered exactly how the brain works. This discovery was the key to achieving believable clones. Now, an ultrasonic cerebral hologram must be obtained of the person who is to be simulated. This procedure is painless to the person, and most people who are to be simulated don't even know this is being done to them when it is happening. The biological computer, the cloned brain, is then caused to form according to the recorded data in the holographic cerebral hologram obtained from the original source subject. In other words, they take the image, project it into a clone and allow the brain inside the clone to grow exactly like the original source model. The body is already there and they grow the brain inside it. The Greys gave us this technology. They can accomplish this whole process within 90 days, creating a believable clone of an adult human being. All they need to grow the body in which the brain is later to be grown is 3 cells from the original body. Now, although the cerebral hologram automatically duplicates the memory of the original person, portions of the brain of the clone may be made to deviate from the entire holographic print. So, they can put information in there that did not exist in the original person's brain. The result of all of this is a programmable biological computerized brain, and a clone that knows essentially everything which the original person knew. They can be programmed for suicide missions, or missions too dangerous for normal humans, such as specialized missions into space or time, or they can be used as they are often used now for insolent invasion of world planetary governments. Here's just a few of the people who have been cloned. Carter, Mondale, David and Lawrence Rockefeller, and Defense Secretary Brown cloned April 6, 1979. On July 5, 1979, Carter was supposed to give an energy speech. It was cancelled and the home-cloned family of the Carters were sent to Camp David. The original Carter clone was burning out. Camp David appears to be the place where many people in government are replaced with clones, so if you get a personal invitation to go to Camp David, I would decline if I were you. Is Clinton a clone? Rumor has it they should have cloned Hillary. That's what they should have done. She's the mastermind. Anyway, on July 11, 1979, the Wall Street Journal reported that President Carter had a nervous breakdown. Clones do not have nervous breakdowns, per Southeast, but they may become unstable in certain ways. On July 15, a Sunday, Carter gave his energy speech, and 2 days later on July 17, the entire presidential cabinet and senior White House staff members resigned, all at once. This is coming from Morini, who is asking us to remember this. In other countries, it would have meant that the government has fallen, but not in the United States. The Carter clones had some trouble in the beginning because of real instabilities in the brain of the human being we knew as Carter. A new type of clone has also been created recently. It's called a genetic synthetic. The programs involving genetic synthetics started in November 1980 by the CIA and Grays operating within the National Security Agency. They are generated using transmutation of certain tissues extracted from cattle. This process grew out of experiments which began in 1959. Now, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Cattle mutilations. Editor note, contemplate that, will you? Astronauts Young and Crippen are clones. The real humans were killed on the Space Shuttle Columbia on November 24, 1979. The training shuttle Enterprise was given a new name and these clones landed for public viewing at Edwards AFB. Editor note, Dr. Peter Better also maintained that Young and Crippen were synthetics, in a very detailed review in his audio